this a very special event in a beautiful place that so many can enjoy in peace while honoring and remembering our fallen.
Hey, we're taking a break from the activities outside, and we're now inside the Pennsylvania Military Museum here in Boalsburg. With me is Mike. Mike is a volunteer tour guide here at the museum who dedicates his time to show people around and educate them about the stuff inside here. Behind me is only one of two remaining American-built French Renaults. There's only two in the world, and one of them is right here at the Pennsylvania Military Museum. And Mike is an expert on this. I'm going to let him kind of explain to you what it's all about. Mike?
Okay. This particular tank has, there's two types of tanks. There's a male version, there's a female version. The male version fires a 37 millimeter, and over here we have a machine gun. That machine gun actually slides down that barrel. This is a female tank. Like he said, there's only two of them in the world. When they built these tanks, during World War II, they melted them down to make new tanks. This one was hid, and another one, and one's in California and one's here. A great story on how we got the tank. Guys bought this after World War I Army surplus. He used to drive it in parades. I believe in 1965, he's down in Carlisle, Pennsylvania, driving in a parade. If you sit on the seat in his tank, you're sitting on the floor. Well, you can't see side to side. He runs over 3 parked cars, we get the tank. True story. Anything else?
No.
The French actually got this right the first time. When you see the British tank, which the Brits come out first, it was a big box. You had 8 to 12 people in it. You could only do 2 hours in the tank because of the heat and the fumes. You had to bail. 2 days in the tank, you were hospitalized. The French got it right the first time. This is actually a modern vehicle. We have all metal tracks. We have the driver sits up front, the gunner sits up back with a 360 turret, and the engine is in the rear in its own compartment. And Brits, they put the engine right inside with the crew. Very bad for everybody. That's why they had to get out.
Very good. Thank you, Mike. Yeah. There you go. Very interesting history on this piece right here. Let's check something else out. Hey, here's another cool piece that Mike's going to show us. The Gatling gun. As soon as it was manufactured in Connecticut, it came right to Pennsylvania for the Civil War, and it's been here ever since. I'll let Mike give you another detailed brief history on this thing. Mike?
Okay. This is an 1862 Gatling gun. Primary was loaded through magazines in their back, were gravity fed. As fast as you can pour this crank here, is as fast as the ammunition will come out. In 1862, a good guy with a ball and cap gun could get 3 rounds off a minute. This gun could fire 200 rounds a minute. When Custer went to the Little Bighorn, They moved this handle from the side to the back, this being a more natural act, and they could get it up to 900 to 1,000 rounds a minute. This gun has continued in military service because you've heard of the 810 Warthog. This was the beginning of that. The Army wanted something bigger, smaller, rather than the 810's big gun, so they made it smaller, subsequently that's what they call the minigun. Okay? So that's basically the history on the Gatling. Dr. Gatling invented it, and he thought it would end wars because he couldn't believe people would go in front of this thing after it started firing.
Very good. Thanks, Mike. Hey, another cool piece here at the Pennsylvania Military Museum is a shell from the USS Pennsylvania. If you've never been here, as soon as you come in the entrance to the museum where you drive into the park, two of the guns from the USS Pennsylvania are right there. You can't miss them. You drive right by them. They're very impressive. This shell has obviously been decommissioned, but it's here on display. And USS Pennsylvania has a very, very strong and unique history. I'll let Mike give a quick, brief introduction on the USS Pennsylvania and talk about the shell a little bit. Mike?
Good. This is a 14-inch shell off the USS Pennsylvania. USS Pennsylvania is a class of battleship. World War I class, Pennsylvania. World War II class, Iowa class. This ship can project this projectile 24 miles accurately. She was to hit another ship. Okay? If this ship turns and fires a broadside, all 12 guns go at once, 1,000 meters by 1,000 meters ceases to exist. If you're in the open, you might find your shoes. That's it. It's a devastating round. The Marines, we love these things. The Army kind of never got naval gunfire. But think about this. This ship can fire 24 miles. She can sit 10 miles out to sea and fire another 14 miles inland. So if you're under her umbrella, what do you care? She don't care about rain, sleet, snow. She's coming. And God help you when she gets there. Unbelievable ship. She went through World War I. The problem was she could only go 20 knots. The rest of the fleet was moving at 30. She couldn't keep up. She's off the coast of Okinawa at the end of the war. A lone Japanese torpedo plane comes out of the sun, comes down, hits her in the rear with a torpedo, knocks her steering and everything out. The Navy says she's not worth fixing. They drag her out to Bikini bomb testing. They're going to drop 2 nukes on her. They drop the first one. Nothing happens. They drop the second one. Nothing happens. Her walls are almost a foot thick. So they have to put a boarding crew on board her to open up scuttling scars to sink her. Think of the radiation these guys got when they did that. So, in the Marine Corps, we would call this throwing Volkswagens at people. Why? Because the weight of a Volkswagen and the weight of one of these is about the same. Good?
Very good. There you go. USS Pennsylvania, tough mother ship. All right, another really cool piece here is a replica of a torpedo that would have been used on the USS Pennsylvania. This has a very strong Pennsylvania history, and I'll let Mike kind of explain it.
Yes, this torpedo actually was designed at Penn State University, ALO. They do the research on these torpedoes. The Mark 35 is actually still in use today. So I don't need to tell you the security thing with the torpedo. This is just a shell, by the way. These torpedoes are pretty neat that they don't hit a ship. What they do is they go underneath the ship and explode, and that's what causes the ship to sink. They actually cut the ship in half.
Hey, another really cool piece here. Check this out. This is a fully restored World War I ambulance that was used by the 28th. It was fully restored because during the war it got all shot up, so they had to do something. But still, a really, really cool piece here. I'm going to let Mike give you a little history on this specific ambulance. Mike?
Good. If you went to war in this particular vehicle, first thing you did was you took off all this white stuff, you cupped out your lights, because the Germans, after 2 years of war, had no sense of humor. They would consider that an aiming point. These vehicles got shot up. You could actually get 6 guys in the back there. They did not put a medic with you. They had a driver, and that was about it. Maybe another guy to help load. And that was it. You were pretty much on your own. She's been restored back to pristine condition. I personally would like her to stay the way she was, because you could have seen the damage that she got from battle.
Very cool piece. There you go. Let's go check out the Jeep. All right, another really cool piece here is the Jeep. The Jeep, believe it or not, has a strong Pennsylvania history. In 1941, when the Army started ordering these to go to combat, they were made right here in Pennsylvania in Butler. Mike knows a lot more about it than I do. I'll let him give you a quick rundown.
Yes, this big Jeep was, Butler won the contract, Bantam won the contract. The Army put it out for bid. The Bantam Corporation built this, showed it to them. The Army was so impressed, they said make as many as you can. But the problem was that Bantam only had 8 employees at the time. So Ford and Willys come in and took the rest of the contract. They estimated they made over 600,000 Jeeps. Every country in the world that was friendly to us, including the Soviet Union, got them.
Hey, here we are outside at the displays they got going on here. They have some modern stuff set up. You saw some of the cool historic stuff inside. With me is Specialist Pravat. He's with the 109th from Scranton. They're a mortar platoon. He's going to give you a quick brief rundown of what they do. Specialist?
So our main job as mortarmen, we carry all 3 mortar systems, a 16 millimeter, a 81, and a 120. This is our 120 millimeter mortar system here. It has a range of 7,200 meters and a minimum of 200 meters. This whole system weighs over 400 pounds and is very rudimentary, but it works very well. It has been used for years. We have the sight here, which we use to look at our bolt, direct lays, do a lot of stuff with that. And the bipod here controls your elevation and just movement from side to side, traversing. And the base weight here is pretty much what just absorbs the shock.
Very good. Thank you, Specialist. Thank you for your time. All right, speaking of mortars, here we got another vehicle that goes right in support of that. With me is Specialist Dietra. He's going to give you a quick rundown of what we got here and the unit he's from. Specialist.
So I'm actually from 2nd 112th Stryker Brigade, and our main platform we use are vehicles and the 120 mounted guns. And behind me here actually is the system. The cannon would go in here, and then you would swing the gun up like this, and then you can actually traverse the gun like that, switch directions to what you would fire. These are a little bit more mobile rather than the trailer mounted ones, because you can take these out on fire missions, and we do a lot of trainings at some places where we'll set up and we'll lay in and then hang some rounds. So that's kind of a quick rundown of the MCV vehicle.
Thank you, Specialist.
Yep.
Okay, here we are. We got another vehicle. This is the military version of what a tow truck would essentially be. With me is Specialist Stort, and he's going to give you a rundown exactly what they do. Specialist?
All right, thank you. So we have here our tow truck, otherwise known as our wrecker. For when our vehicles go down, we mostly tow strikers. The one that is to my left, at the end you will get to see it. So you will get to see what we mostly tow here in PA, Pennsylvania. So our tow truck here, it has a lot of different pieces or parts to it for different towing equipment, and I'll go through all of them with you, or most of them with you, what you can see. Our tow truck here, it also weighs roughly estimated about 60,000 pounds. So it can tow a Stryker, it can tow Humvees, it can tow an FMTV and an MTV. There are different varies of different trucks. So that's basically it for rundown, and I'll showcase all the other equipments and parts to you that you are able to see today. All right, so right here, this is famously known as the Stinger. We use this for Humvee, FMTV, and all of your other smaller vehicles.
All right, here we are. With me is Tyler. Tyler is the director here at the Pennsylvania Military Museum. I'm going to let him kind of give an explanation of what goes on here, what's going on today, what happens at the museum on a daily basis, and he can also introduce himself. Tyler?
Absolutely. Thanks so much for having me today. Welcome to everyone joining us here virtually. My name is Tyler Young, director of the Pennsylvania Military Museum. The grounds themselves, the heritage of the site, dates back to the time period World War I, when it was used as a military training ground. And since 1919, for over 100 years, the 28th Infantry Division, Pennsylvania National Guard, has gathered here on the grounds the third Sunday of May, since then, to remember the fallen. In the background right now, you hear the reading of the infantry poem as far as some of the ethos and warrior mantra, and you also hear the reading of some of the killed in action from this time period, World War I, the whole way through today, to grounds themselves, about 70 or so acres, and then we also have 31 monuments from the fallen, dating from the Revolutionary War the whole way to Iraq and Afghanistan. And just over our shoulders, we have Pennsylvania Military Museum, opening in 1969. Since the height of the Vietnam War, we have always been sure to preserve and protect all of the military history of the Commonwealth from that time period of the Rev War the whole way to modern day. So unfortunately, I would say most historic sites and most museums have that bookend. Ours, unfortunately, does not. So unfortunately, humans are pretty good at doing what they do worst, which is, of course, the most inhumane thing ever, and that's war and killing. So unfortunately, as historians, our job is to make sure that those brave souls stepping into the breach, stepping into the sound of chaos, are not forgotten as far as preserving our freedoms and way of life.
Very good. And today, the service that's going on is a really good thing, and there was a lot of good stuff here to see, whether you're ex-military or not. Some people may not know about it, so if you keep your eye out, getting close to Memorial Day, when the weather starts turning, a beautiful day today. It was
Every
a perfect
year.
day for it. Yeah. You can come out, you can learn about the fallen from the 20th Division in Pennsylvania. The museum is open as well. Wonderful displays in there. As you saw in the video, there was a couple cool things that we got to see that they preserve here, and they do a very good job of it. And so, with the staff at the museum, how many staff do you have working for you?
Total staff is we only actually have 5. So we have 5 staff, and those 5 staff are dedicated to everything from facilities, the whole way to logistics and finance. So we do a little bit of everything. So you could say it's certainly varying degrees of caffeine and time, depending on the day. We have 75 acres, 4 buildings, 31 monuments, and about 12,000 artifacts.
Wow.
So rattling off that data, the 5 of us are busy. That includes our facilities guys and our education team. So we rely heavily on the nearly 200 volunteers that are part of our ranks. And those volunteers do everything from your standard tours and teaching to library care and conservation work for us, to even just coming out and being literally the muscle to help us move, lift, and take care of logistics of tables and pavilions and everything else in between. So it definitely is a labor of love. Around us today, you've probably seen on the video during your tour that there's these monuments, and they're the first thing we see and the last thing we see every day. So even though we joke about having a certain level of caffeine love, it's a constant point of reminder of why we do what we do.
Absolutely. Well, it's a very good thing here that you guys do, and very impressive. Honor. And it's also, again, the services today, but the museum is open all year round. You want to give the hours?
Sure, we're open year round. Currently, there's no deviation in seasonal hours. We're open year round, Thursday through Sunday. Thursday through Saturday is 10 to 3, and Sundays 12 to 3. Locally and regionally, the brunch crew on Sunday mornings doesn't come out really until 12. Before then, especially with some of the local events with the university, concerts, the very sporting events, there's always something going on in the region. So whether you're into the outdoors with the different state parks or national parks in the area, or museums such as ours, you can make a day trip of this location, but you could also wrap it up into a few other locations, historically and naturally, with some of the state parks and national parks.
Yeah, it's a good point. There's plenty of stuff to do around this part of the
Keep
state.
you busy.
Yeah, especially if you're into outdoor stuff. Make this part of your trip.
Yep.
Come here for a couple hours and go biking, canoeing, whatever you want to do.
Right,
Speaking of,
right
there
on.
is a farmers market here.
Yes.
Every Wednesday.
Tuesday.
Every Tuesday.
Every Tuesday. Yep, every Tuesday from 2 o'clock to 6 o'clock from May through October. So people may be quite surprised to hear about a farmer's market at a military museum, but there is no punchline. It's a legit farmer's market. It's been here for over a decade or so now. And during the winter months, when it gets cold out, they button up and go inside across the street at one of the local churches or fire halls. So when you're here May through October, 2 to 6 every Tuesday, depending on the season, the offerings change. So depending on what's going on as far as growth and harvesting, butchering, so forth, it just depends on what time of season you're here from May through October. It's in the parking lot, so it's free to come to the parking. The parking lot's always open to the market, and then of course don't forget every military unit has to be fed. So there's a direct mission tie-in there as far as talking about what food, what recipes, time periods. If you're lucky, you have one of these markets near you. You can stay on a battlefield or a food kitchen or a liberty kitchen, as they would call it. Not always, but fortunate for this farmers market, there's plenty of space for them. There's I think, I could be wrong, but there's at least 60 or 80 vendors every Tuesday.
Wow.
And they're not always the same.
Right.
Like I said, it depends on the season.
Yeah, cool. Very good stuff. Also, when you're here, obviously there's many memorials on the grounds for the different units. One of the main ones, though, that you will see directly outside the museum is the from the Ramadi, the tower.
So we have of the 30 or 31 monuments, we have one of the most emotional and evocative ones is the obelisk right over my shoulder down the walking path from us. It dates from the time period of 2006, Ramadi, Iraq, whenever the real hard push into the urban warfare was taking place. So that particular monument has Army, Marines, and Airmen also on that. And you don't really know that until you start looking at the ranks of these brave men and women. The dog tags of the fallen from that particular brigade combat team are inside of the monument. So on a breezy day like today, you actually hear that acting as a wind chime, as a constant reminder that although the physical beings may not be with us, the spirits are. And then at the base of that monument at night kicks on a light. So it kicks on at night, and it actually emits light up through the dog tags of the fallen, through the broken Humvee glass at the top, lifting those spirits to the heavens, as the artists would say. And that original monument now rests actually at Anvil at 14 Gagetown Gap. The original one was actually battlefield manufacturing, you could say. The young sergeant, she designed it in Baghdad, Iraq, before demobilizing and coming home. So the one we have is a scaled version of that, with those dog tags of the fallen. So it's very, very special. Next to that one, as far as uniqueness and emotional attributes, is probably going to be your World War I monuments. They actually have crosses from the battlefield of where the cities and towns were that these troopers were fighting and dying in. And they were actually gifts from the townspeople to those units to bring home for their memorials here. So if you look closely, you'll find there's a great deal of battle damage to a few of them. Bullet pock marks, actual missing pieces of metal that was just blown off from different artillery shells, and even pieces of artillery cannons welded to the bottom of the crosses to actually mount them in the monument. All again, battlefield pickup.
Yeah, wow. Very moving stuff. So if you do come here, remember that. This grounds is open to the public, and there is a very nice half-mile jogging trail. Half-mile walking, jogging path around the grounds here. Beautiful, especially on a day like today. When you're here, you'll see the monuments we're talking about, and just take some time to kind of think about the sacrifices that were made for those monuments. So, but it's a very good place to visit, and if you're a local, you know about it. If you're not local, you probably haven't heard of it, but now you have. They have a website. They have social media as well.
Yep, we have our website is www.pamillmuseum.org, or if you just Google or whatever your favorite search engine is, Pennsylvania Military Museum, Boalsburg, you'll find us. We keep it updated regularly with all of our hours of operation and service. Bad weather, inclement weather, closure, stuff like that. Event changes or cancellations, postponements. And then, of course, Facebook. Everyone has the book of faces, you can say. So you can find us on there. We try to keep it a little short and pithy. Some humorous, posts here and there. We try to interject some good military history humor, some pieces of music and artwork as well. But Facebook's always fun to reach out to us. So if you have any questions, all of our website information is out there, and you can find how to contact us with the contact form. You can get through to us through Facebook, and short of that, just stop by the grounds and knock on the door if you don't see us. If you do see us, give us a wave, and we're happy to stop and talk shop and be history nerds together.
Very good, very good. And this museum is one of many in the Commonwealth. The Commonwealth of Pennsylvania has the Pennsylvania Historical and Museum Commission, is it?
Yep,
PHMC. This falls under there. There's maybe about 20 or so museums throughout the Commonwealth that fall under that division. So if you want to make a weekend and visit numerous ones, you could probably hit most of them in a weekend.
If you visit the PA Trails of History, you can actually find all of the different museums, and they call it the Trails of History because each of the different topics of history, preservation, conservation has this particular trail. So if you're visiting today, we're on the Military Trail of History. So if you look at the Military Trail of History, it goes from Erie Maritime Museum down through Bushy Run Battlefield over to us, and eventually down toward Philadelphia, Brandywine Battlefield. And if you're more into industrial heritage, cultural, religious heritage, there's Trails of History for that too. And again, PA Trails of History, you find all of us, and you could make some really awesome road trips.
Yeah, absolutely.
It'll be a good time.
Very cool. Well, there you go. I'm getting hungry, so I'm about to go get something to eat. And any parting words you have for somebody who might be watching this that's thinking about coming up?
I would say we have a little bit of something for everybody. We try to span the time periods of history, the age groups of our visitors, and times of the year. We have outdoor stuff and indoor stuff, and depending on the weather and season, we might have both. So we have everything from your lectures to your living history encampment to demonstrations. We welcome school groups, K-12, private, public, universities, military units. Anything you need educationally, we're here to help.
Oh, there you have it. Come on up to Boalsburg in the center part of the state and check out the Pennsylvania Military Museum. Tyler, thank you for your time.
Sir, it's been a pleasure.
Come check it out.
See everybody.
Hey, here we are outside again, and another good service that's provided to the veterans of the Commonwealth is the Survivors Outreach Services. With me is Kaylee. She's with the organization, and she's going to give you a rundown of what the organization does and how it can help you.
So what we do is we cater to survivors of fallen soldiers, whether that's Gold Star, any gambit, mainly Army, Guard, Reserve. And what we do is we are actually a national organization, but we are the Pennsylvania chapter. There's 2 of us here today, but there's 4 Guard across the state, and then there's actually 2 active duty components. And we plan events for people to come to. We provide long-term support. So after they're notified, after they get all their benefits, we provide grief support if they need assistance with their utilities, food. We do anything that we possibly can. If we don't have the answers, we'll find the answers. We can be a liaison for the VA. We try to do it all. We just try to be, or if they just want to talk to somebody, that they don't have to feel like we're also shouldering their grief. We're just an open ear and a helping hand.
And if somebody out there is in need of your services, how can they reach you?
You can Google Survivor Outreach Services, and it'll break it down. We're broken down into counties. So I'm actually in Cambria County, and down to Somerset. Sherry is in Blair County, and we're all over the place. Just Google Survivor Outreach, and it'll point you right in the direction.
Very good. There you go, Kylie. Thank you for your time. Hey, here we are with Rob and Joe. This is a very unique thing here. The 28th Infantry Division is a very historical division, going all the way back to 747 under Benjamin Franklin. So, of course, with that, you have a lot of history. Okay, a lot of history that needs to be preserved and talked about for future generations to understand. That's where Rob and Joe come in. They work for the headquarters in Harrisburg, taking care of all the stuff related to the history and some other things as well. I'm going to let them give you a rundown of exactly what they do, because they're in charge of a lot of important stuff, and it's pretty cool. So, guys, want to introduce yourself and say what goes on a daily basis?
Hey, I'm Joe Zimmerman. I'm the past president of the organization. This is the 28th Division Infantry Division Association, which we are a support for the 28th Division, mostly troops and history and our monuments. We work with all of that to make sure that the history of the 28th is preserved, and also that the support of the troops is there when they need it. And we do different functions every year. One of them is here at Boalsburg, where we come and we have a little stand set up that they can buy shirts and pins and so on. And also then we do a lot of other things on the volunteer basis. There are all volunteers in this organization. There's no one on salary. Nobody gets paid. And we have over 400 and some members throughout the United States, and we even have some members in Belgium. So it's quite a wide variety of activities that we do. And Bob, go ahead.
Yeah, my name is Bob Coyne. I'm a volunteer here. I'm the treasurer. I've been treasurer. I'm the second treasurer since we created the association. We basically do a lot of charitable activities as a result of our position at the headquarters. And our charitable is to help the veterans, also to help the people who work full time as a National Guardsmen and women, and we support them in those efforts, helping them to get some funds to do things that they're not permitted to have and they're normally funding. So we do a lot of that for them. We have 4 scholarships that we've offered for years for our folks who are going to either school, college, associate degrees or bachelor's, or if you're going to any kind of training like a trade school. So there's the ways that we try to help support the division in meeting their mission, and ours is to help preserve the historical aspects of the division.
Very good. And they're all volunteer, and the work they do is amazing. They do have a website. Are you on social media as well?
Yes.
We have Facebook.
Facebook, okay.
28th ID, Facebook.
Okay. What is the web address for the website?
28th Division, 28th Infantry Division Association. .org.
Okay. And I'm assuming there's contact links on there if somebody needs to reach out.
Yep.
Oh yeah,
Yep.
definitely.
Okay.
Yeah, we got a lot of inquiries about people who have served, and they want to find out how what Uncle Ted do. Here's his uniforms, and we try to collect as much memorabilia as we can, and stuff that we can't use, we share with the museum out at Indiantown Gap.
Very cool.
And here at Boalsburg.
And we're starting a new project that might be of interest for some of the veterans out there that served with the 28th. We're looking for your stories of the 28th, and they don't have to be combat stories. Any stories that you would have of the 28th, contact us. We'll have someone come and interview you, and it will become part of the history of the 28th Infantry Division. So, if you're interested, please contact us on that. We'll be glad to hear from you.
Very good. There you go. If you're a 28th vet, get your story out there. It'll be there for generations and generations to hear. So again, what you guys do, thank you for your time.
Thank you.
And what you do is a great thing. And hopefully this gets the word out there for what you do, and then push your organization. And again, if somebody sees this and they have some stories to tell, that'll help you guys out with your upcoming project.
That'd be great.
Yep.
There you go.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right. One of the most important things out of an event like this is the food. You got to feed the people, right? So with me is Lori. She's in charge of this operation here, setting up the food for all these spectators. So Lori, introduce yourself a little bit and tell me what all went into this operation.
Hi, Lori Feathers from Walmart Distribution Center. I'm the general transportation of the Bedford Distribution Center, and myself is here along with other parts of Walmart supply chain and Walmart stores represented throughout Pennsylvania. We come together, we plan this event, we get a big tailgate going. We got all of our drivers that come back and cook on the grills, and we got burgers and chicken and brats for the troops, and this is just our way of saying, hey, thank you. Thank you for what you do, and we recognize you out there, and this is just one way for us to give back to you for everything you sacrificed for us.
Very good. There you go. Behind us, everything's going. A lot of food to eat. I'm going to go enjoy it.